imagine you're walking to work and you take a detour.
Right, like because of sudden construction or something?
Yeah, exactly. You duck into a coffee shop you've never been to, bump into someone, and, they eventually become your spouse. Pure dumb luck, right?
Oh, that's definitely how we're conditioned to see it.
We really are. We write off these massive pivot points as random, like winning a scratch-off ticket or narrowly missing a terrible car accident on your commute.
You just call it chance.
Right. I mean, the sources even point out how evolutionary theory frames the origin of biological life as this cosmic accidental dice roll.
This is a random collision.
Exactly. So, welcome to your custom deep dive. Today we're digging into a stack of devotional notes and ancient texts, specifically focusing on Ruth chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. And the mission today is exploring that razor-thin line between pure coincidence and, well, divine providence.
And it is such a fascinating tension. It plays out perfectly in this one historical case study we have, a woman named Ruth. But to really understand the gravity of her situation, we have to look at her actual reality. She wasn't just, a traveler passing through ancient Israel. She was a Moabite.
Which makes her an extreme outcast. I mean, the Moabites were historical, bitter enemies of the Israelites.
Yeah, they really were.
So she's this impoverished, widowed foreigner from enemy territory. She's just trying to keep herself and her mother-in-law, Naomi, from starving to death.
So she decides to go gleaning, which is essentially trailing behind the official harvesters to pick up whatever dropped grains they missed.
Grueling work.
Oh, incredibly physically demanding and highly vulnerable for a woman alone. But she goes out anyway, and she ends up working in a field owned by a wealthy, respected man named Boaz.
And here is where the plot thickens. Because Boaz isn't just some random rich landowner. He's actually a relative of Naomi's deceased husband, Elimelech.
Right, which is huge in that culture.
Right. It matters immensely because of this concept called the kinsman redeemer. Basically a family member who has the legal obligation and the money to rescue a relative from absolute poverty.
So landing in his specific field literally changes the trajectory of her entire life.
Okay, but let me push back here for a second. Because if I'm reading these texts critically, verse 3 literally translates to saying Ruth, quote, happened to come to Boaz's field.
Right, happened.
The text actually uses that word. Doesn't that just mean it was random luck? Like, it just sounds like hindsight bias.
Really does sound like that, yeah.
Right. She picks a random direction, gets incredibly lucky, and years later, everyone slaps the label of providence on it because it worked out.
Well, what's fascinating here is that is the natural conclusion to draw until you look at the literary structure. That phrase, happened to come, is actually an intentional, brilliant narrative device.
Wait, really? How so?
Because it's written strictly from Ruth's ground-level perspective. To her, as a foreigner who doesn't know the local geography or the family estates, it was a completely blind choice. It was just a random patch of dirt.
Oh, I see. Like navigating a foreign city without a map. You're just taking lefts and rights based on where the traffic looks lighter, hoping for the best.
That is a great way to picture it. But the broader text overlays that human blindness with an omniscient perspective. What the author's doing is contrasting Ruth's perceived randomness with an unseen reality, God guiding her steps.
Wow, that's a massive theological claim.
Huge. And the sources note this threads through other texts we're looking at today, like the Psalms and Ephesians. The argument being that for a person of faith, your birth, your daily commute, and ultimately your salvation are never accidental.
I mean, that is a heavy concept. It almost sounds like a fatalistic video game,
How do you mean?
Like we're just background characters acting out pre-written code without any real choice.
It is easy to read it that way, but the texts argue for a much more complex mechanism. Think of it less like a rigid script and more like a master composer improvising a symphony.
Okay, a symphony.
Yeah, so the musicians are freely choosing our notes in real time. Yet the composer is so masterful that they weave those independent choices into a flawless piece of music.
Right.
The sources mention Psalm 139 talks about existence not being an accident.
Oh, and Psalm 37 speaks of daily steps being established.
Exactly. The divine will operates flawlessly through ordinary human choices, not by overriding them.
Which brings us right to your doorstep listening to this today. Think about your own life. Like, where do things feel random or uncertain?
Or completely out of your control right now.
Yeah. It is incredibly easy to feel like you're just wandering blindly into a field, hoping to find enough scraps to get by.
But notice how Ruth's life altered the course of history. The texts emphasize that her providential moment with Boaz didn't happen while she was, paralyzed, waiting for a miracle to drop from the sky.
Right, she wasn't just sitting around.
No, she was faithfully executing an exhausting, ordinary chore. She was just gleaning grain in the hot sun.
Just doing the mundane work right in front of her.
Exactly. And that leaves us with a deeper question to consider. We naturally view providence as something meant to rescue us in the present moment. But if these texts are right, that everything from daily footsteps to long-term salvation is an interwoven plan, what if the exhausting, ordinary work you are faithfully doing today isn't actually meant to trigger a miracle for you at all?
Oh, wow.
What if your mundane choices right now are quietly laying the geographical and historical groundwork for someone else's salvation entirely down the line?